Now firstly, adverts. Use conservatively. Even though Google does make its money by running adverts, it doesn't like too many adverts on the page, especially what's called above the fold, i.e. at the top of the page. So if you do want to run adverts on your website, it's best to run them towards the bottom of the page. Now anchor text, just make sure you use it accurately and conservatively, and don't overdo it. Don't try and stuff every single keyword into all of your anchor text. Broken links, specifically mentioned in the Google Webmaster Guidelines. Just check on a regular basis you don't have any broken links. Buying links. Never do this. It's one of the quickest ways to get yourself banned from Google. Comment spam or user-generated spam. If you do allow comments, make sure they're moderated. Personally, I just don't allow comments on my website, so it's an easier solution. But if you do allow them, use some sort of moderating program so that comments are only displayed once they've been assessed. If you don't like the comments, delete them. If you do want to allow the comments, allow them to be published. Duplicate content. Make sure you don't just copy and paste material from one page to another, and also make sure you don't have multiple websites with duplicate content. Excessive doorway pages, again specifically mentioned by Google. If you are going to have doorway pages, you should use them for informational reasons, and you should put no follow and no index tags at the top of the page. Certainly if you have lots of doorway pages, for instance for every suburb in your local town, Google will take a very dim view of that and could well penalise you for it. As you can see in the illustration, doorway pages are specifically mentioned in the Google Webmaster Guidelines. Remember, the titles and descriptions on your site. Make sure there's no duplicates. Each one should be unique for every page. Make sure the title's not at the right length, and just check that the titles and descriptions are appropriate to the content of every single page. So this is particularly important. Google really likes you to have the titles and descriptions specific to the content of every single page. They should also be the correct length, not too short, not too long. And again, you can use the Google Search Console, so if there's any title descriptions that Google's not happy with, you can get a message via the Google Search Console. Missing H1 tags. Every page should have an H1 tag. However, you should only have one H1 per page. So if you have multiple H1s, it won't get you banned, but Google won't like it. You can use things like SEO Quake to check how many H1s you have on each page. And again, you can get information from the Google Webmaster Guidelines about heading issues. Remember that in terms of SEO, the H1 is very important, the H2 to a lesser extent, and H3s to H6 probably little or no effect. But what you should make sure you have is no gaps in the hierarchy. So for instance, if you've got an H1 and you've got an H3, make sure you also have an H2. Periodically check to make sure your website server hasn't been hacked and it's not got some sort of malware on it. Again, the Google Search Console will let you know about this. Hidden content, something else that really annoys Google. Don't try and hiding content. The old trick of white text and white background at the bottom of the page. Well, it worked 15 years ago, but that was a long time ago. Now it'll just get you banned. Keyword stuffing. Again, Google specifically mentioned this, so don't overdo the keyword stuffing. Try and keep the keyword density to an absolute maximum of say 5%, ideally less. As I say, try and use proper sentences, not just a whole load of keywords, because Google has a certain reading age and can tell if it's a really badly written page or if the reading sort of level seems okay. Now, link building. Google is very good at detecting when it calls unnatural link building efforts. Or in plain English, if you try and buy links, you'll get found out. Sometimes just simply exchanging links with large numbers of companies, that also can affect your SEO in a bad way. Linking to bad websites, that's certainly a very bad idea. Whether they're linking to you or you're linking to them, same difference now. So do make sure that you do check where your website is linking to, and also check any links from other websites to you. Make sure they appear to come from good websites, not bad neighborhoods. You can use the Google mobile testing tool to see if your website is properly optimized for mobile devices, so just check it out every so often. Do bear in mind, if you over-optimize, you now get penalized for that, so you can't win. So be conservative with your SEO, don't go crazy. Always remember, if you go to the Google Webmaster Guidelines, there's a little phrase down here. Where is it? There it is. Make pages primarily for users, not for search engines, or in plain English, don't over-optimize. Reciprocal links. Again, this used to work. These days, really, reciprocal links cancel each other out, even if you got a good link from a good website. And do remember that links really only help these days if they are from good websites, and if they're obviously follow links, and also if they're really sort of related to your website in some way. Having lots of links from totally unrelated areas coming to your website these days doesn't really help you that much. Schema, don't abuse it. Again, this is particularly mentioned in the Google Webmaster Guidelines. Scraped content. That's a polite way of saying content stolen from other websites. Again, don't do this. Google can find out about stolen content and again can penalize you for this. Sitemaps, you need both the XML and the HTML sitemaps. Thin content, this is basically where you've got lots of new pages, very sort of thin content of little or no value. Again, if you can't produce decent content, don't produce it. Sometimes less is more. So if you're just creating new pages just for the sake of it, maybe to try and get Google to associate your product or your service with a particular area or something, if you've not got any quality content to go with that, then really you're going to harm your efforts. You're not going to help your SEO, you're going to harm your SEO. Unnatural linking activity. This is basically Google getting better and better at detecting linking scams. So, try and go for natural linking rather than sort of organized reciprocal links or anything like that.